All right, here we go. So one of the biggest things we talk about when we talk about health that I don't think it's nearly enough play, discussion, or being brought up in the medical system because it makes pharma no money is community. This is a big deal for everything you want to look at. You want to look at longevity. You want to look at quality of life. You want to look at, depression. All sorts of things. Humans are social creatures. And so one of the things that we need to really kind of focus on, in the exercise and the supplementation and all that stuff is really important. However, if you're going to do one thing, this is the thing to do. Find people who you can be around, who make you feel better, who make you part of a team, who make you part of a group, where you contribute in a positive manner, where you guys build each other up and you move forward. This is one of those things where I could literally just talk about this for the rest of my life, and this is the only thing because it's that important and it's so big. And I would tell you that, the online communities are great. Definitely, I'm not saying you shouldn't be part of that, but you need to be part of communities where you are around people. You are in their energy field, you are around them, you are working with them, you are sitting, you are talking to them, you have that type of functional piece. And it can be for anything. It doesn't matter, whatever you're involved in. If it's fishing, great, go get a fishing community. If it's running, walking, working out, if it's needlepoint, if it's whatever it is, get around people who are moving in a direction that's going to be beneficial to you and to society, and be part of that group and work and help and do that sort of things. There's a lot of good groups. There's a lot of bad groups. There's a lot of good groups within churches, within communities. You can jump online and find groups in your area. They're doing anything. Find a walking group. Find anything that you're like, oh, I'm kind of interested in X, Y, Z. Great. Go meet the people. Be around the people. Find a way that you can bring benefit and positivity to a group, helping them move forward, helping them grow, helping you grow. This is one of the more critical things that you have to do to get everything in your system, everything where you need to be, develop your purpose, and move forward. This is gigantic. When you don't have people around you that share values, that share systems, that help you become a better person, that help you drive forward in the path that you've decided to be on, you're gonna, loneliness and darkness is probably your only companion, your only friend. And we start seeing that come out. There's a lot of people who don't associate with people. They don't get out with people. They're very, very, very lonely. We see this massive issue with men. And they'll retreat into video games, and they'll retreat into substance abuse and alcohol and, all sorts of things. And then you see them online, and they're full of poison, they're full of hate, and they're, just throwing venom and anger out of society because they don't have the thing that's filling them. And the thing that fills you is being beneficial to people. So, going out and, learning some things and helping the new people kind of move forward and that sort of thing. Groups like this were a very, very commonplace thing 30, 40, 50 years ago. Your Rotary Club, your church groups, your book clubs, or whatever it is. We don't have a lot of that anymore. And that is one of the things that if you really want to be healthy, you have to start kind of taking cues on. My wife has, she's got her things where she goes to book clubs, and she does, the church groups, and she does prom closet, and she does all these different things where she's around her people. And then I get to come to the office and be part of my groups. And then all of the dads and stuff like that, we get together, we hang out, we do stuff like that. But it's one of those things where we are all pushing ourselves forward in a community. And we are able to talk, we're able to be together and do those things. And it is super critical for everybody to be able to do that. As life gets harder, as finances get tighter, as things get busier, people seem to drop out of their communities more and more and isolate themselves more and more. And that is the worst thing that you can possibly do. Finding people who are all moving in a positive direction is really, really important. Now, I've said it a couple of times, so I want to make sure I point it out. What we really, really, really need is we need to find people who are moving in a positive direction. The whole, environment thing, you hang out with 5 alcoholics, you'll be the 6th. You hang out with 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th. You hang out with 5 people who are pushing their lives in a positive direction, learning, growing, and becoming better. That's where you want to be. So if you find a group of people and they're complaining about everything, and all they want to do is gossip and talk about the darkness and talk about bad things, that's not a group you want to be around. That is a group that's going to take you in a negative position. So finding out, who you are, what your purpose in life is, where you want to go, and then finding a group of people who help that drive that in the right direction is going to be really, really important. If you're married, finding people, if you're, it doesn't matter, guys and girls, you can hang out together, or it's also great to hang out individually. And this is important for both men and women. If you want your marriage to stay in a very positive, very uplifting, very beneficial position, hang out with people who are striving for the same thing. Hang out with people who have the marriage that you want, have the relationship that you want. Learn from them, grow with them. This is one of those things that is super duper important. You don't want to just sit around in life and just work on your own thoughts and be yourself. It's great to do on occasion, and it's needed. But what's really needed is to be with people who are moving in the direction that you're trying to go, bettering themselves and giving options and giving thoughts and being able to vent to these people and be like, here are my problems, and have people who are there to say, oh, well, we had these problems, or I read this book, or these people had this problem, and this is how they resolved it. This is a really, really, really important piece. There's a lot of, this is one of those marks that, is a good organization. So the reason that we chose the church we go to, and the reason we chose the school that we go to, is because we want a community for us, but we really want a community for our kids. Because again, I mentioned this a lot, my son, quick story. So my son my oldest wanted to be a center and wanted to be an offensive lineman. And so I got with one of my buddies, Nate, who's a NFL lineman, phenomenal. Nate Livings is a phenomenal human being. So he goes and he starts training with him. And Zane's asking Nate all these questions about exercise and supplementation and nutrition. And Nate goes, you know who I ask all these questions to? And Zane goes, who? And he goes, your dad. He was like, how do you think we know each other? And that was the first time my son recognized that, what I was saying was important. But the reason I tell that story is because while you as the parent might have all the information your kid needs, and you might be trying to pour that into them, it's not going to help, because that's not how those kids need. That's not the vertical that they need you in. And so getting them in a surrounding, in a community, in a group where those issues, those values, those things can be reinforced by everybody around them is super important. So, finding, the parents who teach their kids the way you want them to be taught, and then getting your kids around those kids. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about community. And if you're like, well, we are not in a position to find and grade and use a private school, fantastic. Find a coaching group, find, for baseball, for football, for whatever it is, for theater, for band, whatever it is, find a group where your kids can be influenced in a very positive way. Check the community. What is going on around them? This is one of those things where, parents are like, I want my kids to have the best, whatever. Great. Help them by finding them a community to plug them into that is going to push them in the direction you want them to go. If your kids aren't doing great in school and they start hanging out with a group of kids who value doing well in school, your kids are going to start doing better in school, because it is what is normal amongst the group. When I met Stuman, my buddy Ryan Stuman, who's a business coach and a life coach, he's a fantastic human being as well. Met him through our private school. Started hanging out with him and his group. That's why I wrote my book, because everybody was writing books. That's why I did my TED Talk, because everybody was doing stuff like that. So, the things that you associate with, the people you associate with, is going to rub off on you. And so when you start trying to figure out who is it I'm trying to be, who I want to be, once you figure out kind of where you're trying to go, if you haven't done that, get with somebody who can help you find your purpose and help you find out who you are and where you're trying to go, because usually it's something you have to have somebody help you with, because you can't see your own blind spots. Once you figure that out, then be like, okay, who are the people who would be pushing in this direction, and go meet them and hang out with them. That's one of those things that we've got to start doing. We've got to find our own communities. We've got to either build our own communities, but that's the thing. So one of the most important things for health is your psychological function and your psychological spiritual connection. And one of the easiest ways to build that is to first figure out who you are and where you're trying to go, and then find a community that is going to push you in that direction, who's going to, not necessarily push, but that's where everybody else is going, right? And so if everybody else is going in this direction, and that's the direction you're trying to go, getting with a group of people will help you get there. The old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go in a group, is 100% accurate. So we've got to start looking for a community. If we want to be healthy, we've got to start finding the people who are pushing us in the right direction. And this is one of the great things about joining gyms, because like a lot of times you'll find guys, or you'll find women, you'll find people there who are trying to get healthier. They're trying to work out more. They're trying to push themselves in that direction, and they can help you get there. I've never been around a community, and this is just me, and you guys are in different communities, that is more accepting and more helpful than the bodybuilding and the workout community. Because every time I get together with these people, it's always like, hey, what are you doing? Have you tried this? Have you done that? How'd that work for you? Because this is what happened for me and my buddy Ted. And it's like, everything's like, how are we going to get better together? And it might not be the thing like, well, we're all going to get better together. But just the way that they're so open with their information and what they've known and what they've done and what worked for them and what didn't. It's a really, really positive community. And that's one of the reasons that, I like gym people. You look at a lot of the friends I have, most of them are professional bodybuilders, professional athletes, guys who work out a lot. Because it's a lot of those guys. I'm sure there's tons of them out there. I just haven't met a whole lot of guys that were women. Max West, like all the female, athletes and bodybuilders and, champion, people, and Kara and all her friends, all phenomenal human beings who are just trying to get better. And they're all like, and they're so giving with their information, so like wanting everybody to get better. But that's the community. Again, it's when you find a community, and I'm sure like the fishing community, I'm sure that if you guys all got together, you're like, oh, you use this lure? Oh, this was the best one. Oh, when I fish at night, I use these lights. And that's the whole thing. Like, build each other up, give the information that you've got, like help people go where they're trying to go. These are the things that really give people purpose. And I've talked to thousands of people, and no matter what it is, everyone seems to feel good inside when they help someone else. When they're like, at the end of the day, if you're the Pokemon card guy, right? And I'm just whatever, and you're able to share, this earth type versus this water, whatever, this is the best way to do it. Like, and someone else isn't interested in that, and you're teaching them and helping them, always makes people feel better. This is a universal thing that I have seen in everybody. As long as you're teaching and helping other people to get better, you receive a lot of benefit from that. This is one of the best things about community. Here's the other thing. Once you start realizing that by being in the community and adding value to somebody else's life makes you feel better, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go research that thing. You're going to learn more about that thing. You're going to dive more into it because you want to help more people. This is just what happens. If we lose community, we lose that drive. We lose that benefit. We lose the thing that pushes society forward. So this is one of those big things. Like when I hang out with my nutritionist, my chemist, my healthcare people, and we talk about different things, like, oh, I haven't heard that. Like, how'd that work out? How many patients have you worked with that on? Did that work? How many did that work for? Oh, it's 70%. Oh, I got to start adding that to my practice. These are the things that build things up. This is what builds society forward. And if we lose the community, we've lost a lot of part of society, and we've lost a ton of what makes you healthy and you beneficial. So if you're not focused on community, if you're not focused on, being around other people and being beneficial to them and to their society, you really need to start looking into finding a community. Jump online, whatever you're interested in. Doesn't matter. If you're a gun person, if you're an anti-gun person, if you're a fishing person, whatever, find a community where you guys have shared values that are beneficial to you and to society. Filter those things down, and then hang out with those people and start making yourself a better person. Help other people get better. This is the thing about community. This is one of those big things that we are starting to lose, that we really, really, really need to bring back in. So if you're looking to get healthy in the new year, if you're going to do one thing, this is the one thing. This is going to help your psychology. It's going to help your emotional function. It's going to help every part of you be better. Now, the other stuff is great. We really need to do that. But this is the one thing. And it is oftentimes free. And I will tell you that once you get into anything, whether it's cars or computers or guns or fishing or running or anything, you're going to figure out how quickly you spend money on your thing. But that's the thing. Once you're with your group and you're doing the things with your group and you're bettering yourself, and you're feeling better, everything in your life starts to get better. So find your community, find your positive movement in your community, get in, be part of it, be an active role in it. And those things will be really, really helpful at getting you healthy in the new year. If you guys have questions about this is the most important thing. Ask if you guys are, if you have communities that you love, Drop them in the comments so other people can find them. This is a huge deal, and we need to make sure that this is part of our wellness plan going forward, or we're never truly going to be healthy and well. You want to talk about holistic care? This is a major step that people are not really doing, and we need to really lean into this hard. If you guys have any questions that I can help with, please ask. Otherwise, if you can help somebody else, drop it in the comments, do something so that people can start to see the things and maybe go do the things that, help you and benefit you and make your life more positive, fill your life with purpose. That's a huge, huge piece that, like I said, we're just not doing enough. It's a fantastic day.